alongside Steve Hain on the call today. And we are at Clark University for a Central Division II sectional semifinal matchup between the 8th-seeded Hopkinton Hillers and the 4th-seeded Milford Scarlet Hawks. We apologize for the slight delay on the broadcast. It was a bit of an adventure getting set up today, but we are ready to rock, and the game is just moments away from the opening tip. And right now, the starting lineup's being introduced for the Hopkinton Hillers, an absolutely packed house here at Clark University. And Steve, I don't think the atmosphere for playoff basketball gets any better than this.
I think they get more fans and spectators for this game than they do for most Clark University games, Tom. This is absolute mayhem here. Fantastic environment for a game on Tuesday night.
Can you hear them? It's unbelievable here at Clark University today. The fans are going wild, and we are ready for the opening tip between the 8th-seeded Hopkinton Hillers and the 4th-seeded Milford Scarlet Hawks. Both teams got upset wins in the first round. The Hillers took down 1st-seeded Grafton 59-55. And the Milford Scarlet Hawks, actually, they didn't get an upset, but it was certainly a close game. A battle with 5th-seeded Westboro, and the Scarlet Hawks won that game 61-60. And standing in the center circle for the Milford Scarlet Hawks, it's number 0, Dom Schofield. And he is ready to tip off against Elon Rosen, who was certainly a star last game for the Hillers. And the Hillers start off with control as Rosen tips it to Finfrock. Ambrosoni takes it across midcourt. A right-hand dribble gets it over to Maffiori towards the top of the perimeter. And we are underway here at Clark University. Feed to Maffiori up top, trying to feed it to Ambrosoni. It's tipped towards the near side by Ben Blanchard. Ambrosoni takes it over towards the wing, working into the lane, and we have contact, our first foul of the game. And it's going to be against Dom Schofield. We'll get you the starting 5 in just a moment for both sides, as the Hillers continue to work in their offensive end, working left to right across your radio. Finfrock up to Ambrosoni. He'll feed it out to the top of the perimeter. Up for 3 is is Matt Cooper. That's no good. Now a feed to Finfrock. He'll launch a 3, no good. And then Schofield trying to get to the rebound, but Pereira got a hand on it first. Driving in, up and in goes Matt Cooper, the junior. 2-0 Hillers lead as Tyler Weatherby takes it up the near side. Your starting 5 for the Milford Scarlet Hawks: Tom Schofield, Tyler Weatherby, Colby Perez, Jordan Darling, and Ben Blanchard. As the Scarlet Hawks now working in their offensive zone. Darling for 3 from up top. No good, and it's collected by Elon Rosen.
Nice rebound by Rosen. Good strong rebound.
The Hillers work up court. And we'll get you their starters as well in just a moment. Rosen with possession on the left wing. Feeds it up to Ambrosoni. Up for 3. Got it. 5-0 Hillers.
Sweet stroke. Woo.
Certainly was. Your starting 5 for the Hillers: Stephen Maffiori, Tommy Ambrosoni, Matt Cooper, Elon Rosen, Travis Finfrock, and we have a block along the far side corner as Weatherby went up for the shot. It's blocked out of bounds. It'll be a Scarlet Hawks entry from the offensive baseline. Ben Blanchard on the entry. Over to the wing to Perez. Now back to Blanchard on the right corner. He'll work it up top to Weatherby. Weatherby feeds it over to Darling. Audible at the 3. Feeds it up top instead of Perez. Driving in from the wing, Weatherby. Back to Darling on the left corner. He'll take it in. Feeds it up top to Weatherby. And Weatherby will pass over to the corner to Schofield. Along the baseline he goes. Gets tied up with Pereira. And the ball ends up out of bounds. Hillers basketball. Good defensive work underneath by Elon Rosen. On the entry is Finfrock. Feeds it into Ambrosoni along the far side. Ambrosoni along the near side of Cooper. And now over to Rosen. Driving along the baseline. Up and in with the reverse.
Great vision on the floor. Going along the baseline. Getting the easy layup. 2 points.
Well, momentum is in favor of the Hillers to start things off. 5:44 left to go in the first quarter. Hopkinton 7, Milford nothing. Timeout on the floor. We'll take one as well.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, your plumber.
Breathe right into your foot.
Your plumber's masseuse.
Yes.
You, your dog walker, your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Off the timeout, the Scarlet Hawks are going to turn it over. It's taken away by Ambrosoni along the elbow after a missed shot attempt. Stephen Maffiori with possession up top, feeds it to Rosen, and now Ambrosoni coming in from the left side. He'll go up and in. Tommy.
Beautiful feed and roll to the basket by
Tommy.
Ambrosoni.
Absolutely was. Ambrosoni already with a couple field goals. We have another steal. It's knocked away from Weatherby. Quick break, Cooper. No good, but then a follow-up by Elon Rosen, and the Hiller strike again. Hiller domination to start things off, and a pass up the near sideline, tipped out of bounds by Rosen, nearly a steal.
That's why you follow your teammates down the floor, Tom. Great instinct by Rosen. He gets the easy bucket off the miss.
Scarlet Hawks will have the entry from the near sideline, an 11-0 Hopkinton lead, 4:56 left to go in the first quarter. Tyler Weatherby with possession along the left wing, feeds it over to the corner to Schofield, up for three, no good. Off the front of the rim it goes, and then contact in the paint between Jordan Darling and Ambrosoni on the rebound attempt. And they are going to get Jordan Darling with his first foul of the game, team second for Milford. Well, Steve, a rough go at it for the Scarlet Hawks to start this game off as the Hillers work left to right across your radio into their offensive zone. Ambrosoni feeds it up to Cooper along the near side. Now Maffiori on the corner. Maffiori back up to Ambrosoni. Finfrock calling for it along the left wing. Launches a three, got it! Travis Finfrock knocking it down.
Milford's zone defense a little bit slow to adjust, and Finfrock gets a wide open shot.
And it's knocked out of bounds along the near side right towards us. And it'll be a Scarlet Hawks inbound from the near sideline.
Great hustle by Maffiori. Almost saved that ball as it went to the sideline out of bounds for the Scarlet Hawks.
Weatherby up to Darling along the near side. Takes it over to the corner and will pass back. And the Scarlet Hawks have their first points of the game, courtesy of Colby Perez, who hits the three from the corner.
Perez stopped the bleeding on that one. Boy, did his teammates need that basket.
Finfrock with possession along the left elbow, feeds it out to Maffiori. Now Ambrosoni drives in from up top, over to the corner to Cooper, up for three, no good. And it's a rebound, Jordan Darling. Darling going to go coast to coast, down the lane, past the defender, up, no good. Schofield with the follow through. Count it. And they're going to get Ambrosoni with the foul, and actually, they're not going to count the follow through, it doesn't appear. But they're going to put Jordan Darling at the free throw line. First of two, no good.
Darling's rushing it just a little bit, but he had a nice rebound, went strong coast to coast, got fouled. That was a great play by Darling for Milford.
Second of two, got it. A 14-4 Hillers lead, 3:51 left to go in the first quarter. Hopkinton with the entry from the defensive baseline. Scarlet Hawks on a full court press. Finfrock feeds it across to the far side of Ambrosoni. Ambrosoni takes it across, up top. Over to the wing he goes to Keefe. Now it's back up to Ambrosoni. Ryan Keefe recently just hopping in the game for the Hillers. He's certainly a player that they rely on as far as outside shots. Maffiori along the right wing up to Ambrosoni. He'll take it in, back to Finfrock. Finfrock trying to feed it underneath. A good read by Ben Blanchard, who steals it away for the Scarlet Hawks. Blanchard takes it up, over to the wing to Weatherby, down to the corner to Darling, up for three, no good, off the front of the rim. And then Schofield pulls down the rebound, but we have a foul, and it looks to be against the Scarlet Hawks.
Yeah, Schofield pushed off to get some room for himself. The referee saw it, called the foul.
And that is already the second foul on Dom Schofield. So he's going to come out of the game for a few minutes as Finfrock launches it up the far side of Maffiori. Maffiori along the left corner. Feeds it up to Ambrosoni. Back to Maffiori along the left wing. Ambrosoni up top. Maffiori now going to launch the long three. He's got it!
Looking like Steph Curry.
The senior knocks it down. Tyler Weatherby feeds it across to Darling. Darling up the far side, being watched by Maffiori. Along the right wing, feeds it back to Blanchard. Up for three, no good off the rim. A rebound to Rosen. Elon Rosen, a rebounding machine for the Hillers. And he is certainly going to be someone to watch in the low post. A 17-4 Hillers lead. 2:38 and counting left to go. Mafiori along the left wing feeds it into Finfrock. Up for the jumper, and no good. It'll rim out, and then it's tipped by Perez towards Blanchard. Back to Perez he go, or Weatherby rather, and he'll take it up the near side. A feed to the corner, and it's tipped by Franklin Jr., and it's stolen away by Elon Rosen. Rosen with the quick break, and he's going to draw contact as he marches down the lane. We'll get Ralph Franklin Jr. with his first, and Elon Rosen at the line.
Boy, you got to give a lot of credit to Ambrosoni. He created that entire play by tipping the ball to his teammate as he got whacked on the defensive end.
And the first of two is no good. And we are courtside here at today's game, so there's times we have the officials right in front of us, Steve. And I'm not tall like you, so it makes life a little difficult. Rosen hits the second of two, an 18-4 Hillers lead as Weatherby will take it across. Weatherby gonna go down the lane, feeds Franklin Jr. along the left box, and he's gonna feed it up top, and it's gonna be a cross-court violation as Perez could not haul it in. And it'll be Hillers basketball with 2:06 left to go.
Got Sean Murray coming into the game for the Scarlet Hawks, replacing Ralph Franklin.
Tommy Ambrosoni on the entry from the near side. Feeds it up to Finfrock. Now it's back to Ambrosoni. Ambrosoni with a left-hand dribble, calls it out, now switches to his right, feeds it over to Cooper. Along the right wing, now into Rosen. Rosen trying to work the defender, up and in!
Another strong pivot move. Unstoppable. Kiss it off the glass for the two.
Tyler Weatherby takes it up the far side. Feeds it over to Sean Murray along the right wing. Now over to Darling, and he's called for a travel. Hillers basketball. And Steve, did you ever envision a 20-4 Hillers lead with 1:43 left to play in the first quarter?
I certainly did not, Tom. And I got to say that Milford's they're rushing everything a little bit. The shots are a little bit long. They're turning the ball over. Hopkinton's come out strong so far. Let's see how the rest of this first half progresses.
Ambrosoni crosses midcourt along the top of the perimeter, feeds it in to the interior, and then it's passed over to Keefe from Finfrock, and he knocks down a three. Unbelievable. 23-4 Hillers. A pass along the far side of Varsity, and Varsity feeds it over to Perez along the left wing, nearly stolen away. Now to Darling, coming in from the right wing. Between the legs dribble as he'll take it in and draw some contact. And we'll have our second Hillers foul of the game. And we'll get Brian Keefe with the contact.
Milford's has had a surprisingly large number of substitutions already. Coach Seaver's trying to do whatever he can to find the right combination.
Perez to the corner, and Tyler Weatherby knocks down a three. Good response by the Scarlet Hawks. Tommy Ambrosoni takes it across midcourt and calls it out. Ambrosoni, the point man for the Hillers, certainly does a good job directing traffic. Over to Keefe along the left wing. Now into the interior, up for the shot. Rankatori, no good. And it's a rebound for Colby Perez and the Scarlet Hawks. Over to Darling, he goes. Coming up the near side. Back to the corner to Weatherby. He'll take it in. Feed it out to Varsity along the wing. And now it's back up to Weatherby. Weatherby feeds it underneath. Sean Murray up for the jumper, and he draws contact. Baseline jumper by Murray, and that's going to put him at the line.
Well, Milford is finally showing some signs of life at this final minute of the first quarter. Down 16 points already. My goodness.
Long way to go, however. And the Scarlet Hawks have had plenty of great comebacks all season long. And Murray hits the first of two. Sean Murray, the junior, the big man for the Scarlet Hawks. They're going to rely on him a lot in this game to deal with guys like Elon Rosen, Josh Serapusco, Travis Finfrock. Second free throw, no good. And here comes the Hillers. Mafiori will take it across midcourt. Hopkinton working left to right across your radio. 22 seconds left to go in the first quarter and counting. A 23-8 Hillers lead. The feed into Finfrock. Finfrock along the right elbow, gonna take a step out and launch the three, no good. And it's a rebound for the Scarlet Hawks. Blanchard collects, Weatherby takes it up. A feed over to Darling coming in from the right corner. He went up for the shot, it was blocked by Rankatori, and then it was tipped out to Weatherby, who feeds it back into Darling, and Darling goes up and in. And the Scarlet Hawks, as we end the first quarter with some momentum going, after 1 quarter of play, it's Hopkinton 23, the Milford Scarlet Hawks 10. We'll take a timeout. Welcome back into a crazy atmosphere here at Clark University for this Central Division II sectional semifinal between the Hillers and the Scarlet Hawks of Milford. Milford with possession to start off the second quarter. Pass to Darling along the left wing, and he knocks down a three.
Darling finally finds a stroke from the outside.
Scarlet Hawks within 10, and then on the inbound, Darling contests Ambrosoni, and we have another Jordan Darling foul. That's his second.
Boy, you could see the frustration on his face. He contains himself, but he was pretty frustrated. Felt that he made a clean strip of the ball.
Travis Finfrock will have the entry from the defensive baseline for the Hillers. He'll feed it into Ambrosoni. Ambrosoni across up the near side, a pass up the near side of Rosen. Rosen takes it up to the right block, up for the right-handed hook shot. No good. Rebound Weatherby. And here comes the Scarlet Hawks. Weatherby takes it in. Kicks it out over to Blanchard. Now it's back to Weatherby along the left wing. Weatherby feeds it over to the corner to Franklin Jr. Now up top to Murray. Murray back to Franklin Jr. coming in from the wing up with the right-handed shot. No good, but there's a foul.
Good strong move by Franklin, getting to the hole.
They're going to get Ambrosoni with his second. Ralph Franklin Jr., the junior, is at the line. First of two, no.
And the Milford Scarlet Hawks are wise to take the ball to the basket. The outside shots so far have not been falling, with the exception of the last Darling three-point shot. So take it to the basket and create your own offense. It's exactly what Franklin did. See if he can convert this free throw.
Franklin Jr. on the second of two. Count it. 23-14 Hopkinton. 7:15 left to go in the second quarter. Travis Finfrock will have the entry for the Hillers. Feeds it up the near side over to Ned Dean, who just hopped into the game recently. Dean along the wing, up to Ambrosoni, he goes. Ambrosoni with a right-hand dribble working along the top of the perimeter. Feeds it over to the corner, now over to Cooper along the wing. Around the perimeter they go. Fiore thought about a three. Finfrock kicks it back out to Ambrosoni. Now Cooper coming in from the right side, up to Ambrosoni. Ambrosoni over to the corner. Ned Dean for three. Count it!
Ned Dean coming off the bench, giving his team some offense. Big shot.
That's the first Hillers field goal in a while. Scarlet Hawks did have a bit of a run going. And it's a 26-14 Hillers lead. Franklin Jr. with possession along the right wing. Feeds it back to Perez. Perez drives down over to Murray along the corner. He'll feed it across to Weatherby, up for three. No good. Off the rim, and it's collected by Ned Dean. Dean feeds it over to Finfrock, who will take it up the far side. Finfrock comes up and feeds it over to the corner to Cooper. Now it's up top over to Dean. Back to Finfrock he goes. Now Ambrosoni coming in from the right wing. Feeds it out to Fiore. Fiore gonna step up to the right elbow and launch the jumper. No good. Perez with the rebound. Perez up to Blanchard. Blanchard back to Perez. Now Weatherby coming in from the right wing. And he'll feed it out to Franklin Jr. along the left wing. Franklin Jr. trying to work the defender a little bit. Passes it back to Weatherby at the point. Now over to Franklin Jr. on the corner. Launches a three and he swishes it through.
Confident stroke. Franklin.
26-17. Fiore collects the pass along the near side in the offensive zone. Pass up to Finfrock. Finfrock turns it around to Ambrosoni. Ambrosoni back to Fiore along the right wing. Now Cooper along the left wing. Feeds it over to Ned Dean, down the lane, kicks it out to Cooper, up for three, no good. Just wide to the right, pulled down by Blanchard. Blanchard takes it across for the Scarlet Hawks. Along the left wing, feeds it over to Perez. Perez back to Franklin Jr. along the right wing, up for three, no good, off the rim. And it was nearly collected by Ambrosoni, but then tipped, it went off of Fiore and out of bounds. So it's going to be Milford basketball.
Yeah, an unfortunate turnover for the Hillers. Ambrosoni and Fiore simply collided, both going for the rebound, 50-50 ball, and goes out of bounds.
Well, both schools turned up in big numbers here today to support their teams at Clark University. These student sections right behind us, I'm sure you can hear them in the broadcast. They are loving it.
And they've been on their feet, Tom, the entire game.
Franklin Jr. down the lane, feeds it over to Murray, coming in from the right elbow, up for the shot, no good. Scarlet Hawks looking for a foul with a little contact there, but Ned Dean collects the rebound, no whistle. Finfrock takes it up the far side. Finfrock over to Dean along the right wing. Now up to Fiore, who calls it out. Fiore over to Cooper. Back to Fiore. Fiore runs the point for the Hillers when Ambrosoni's not in the game. Over to Ned Dean, up for the jumper from the right of the paint. No good. Put back Rosen, draws the foul.
Got the arm slapped on the way up, but he goes up strong and finishes the basket. Wow, his team needed that.
An and one opportunity for Elon Rosen.
You can feel the momentum a little bit shifting to the Scarlet Hawks, but Rosen comes in off the bench as he had been getting a little bit of a rest, and he gives them some much-needed offense.
Rosen on the end one, no good, but it's pulled down by Ned Dean, who feeds it out over to Finfrock, now over to Cooper along the left wing, and up to Fiore he goes. Fiore into the paint to Dean, up for the jumper, count it.
4 points on that possession for Hopkinton.
Nice shot there by Ned Dean. Saw the open opportunity and took advantage. A 30-17 game. Blanchard trying to drive down the lane and put up a shot. He's denied by Ned Dean. And Franklin Jr. collects on the corner. Feed up to the top of the perimeter to Weatherby, and he'll drive the lane, hit the bucket, and draw the foul, and one.
Weatherby with a nifty reverse layup. He gets clobbered, but he still puts it up off the glass with a nice touch for the and one.
They're going to get the foul on the Hillers, apparently on Ellis Spar, and that'll be his fifth, and the and one is good.
is taking the pain for their team.
Second of 2, no good, and it's collected by Ned Dean. Matt Fiore will take it across for the Hillers. Matt Fiore comes up court with a right-hand dribble and calls it out. 2:22 and counting left to go in the first half. A 13-point lead for the Hillers. Matt Fiore down the lane, up with the shot. It's no good, but there's a foul.
Yep. Perez committed the foul time, and he's frustrated because he feels like he was playing great defense, but he was moving his feet in the way that he should. But Matt Fiore went into it with the body, got the blocking foul because his position was not set.
Matt Fiore on the first of 2, he hits. A 37-23 Hillers lead with 2:17 left to go in the first half. Matt Fiore on the second of 2. He has 7 points tonight, and it's no good. Collected by Perez. Perez will take it up for the Scarlet Hawks. Along the far side now, over to Murray, back to Perez along the corner. Up to Murray on the wing, now up top to Weatherby. Weatherby feeds it over to Franklin Jr. on the left block. Great feed to Murray, but he goes up for the lane, and he's blocked by Rosen. Unbelievable. Rosen practically had his back turned towards Murray, but still managed to block it. As Matt Fiore takes it across for the Hillers. Up top, and he'll take a step back to the left elbow, launch the jumper, no good. A battle for the ball along the baseline, collected by Franklin Jr. Franklin Jr. going to come across, and he'll feed it out to the wing to Weatherby. Back to Franklin Jr., up for 3, got it! It is a three-point shooting contest here today, and it looks like we're going to have a foul. It's going to be
on the Hillers underneath.
The Hillers, yep.
It was concurrent with the Ralph Franklin three-point shot, so now the Scarlet Hawks have a chance to get a 4-point play out of this possession. And boy, you love the play of Franklin off the bench with some big shooting. Great bench play by both teams so far in this first half.
Sean Murray at the line for the Scarlet Hawks to try to complete the 4-point play. Put Milford within 10. Got it. And he'll get another. Both teams with 8 fouls apiece. Murray on the second. No good. Tipped back by Franklin Jr., but collected by Finfrock for the Hillers. Matt Fiore will take it up. Matt Fiore, top of the perimeter, drives down the lane, feeds it to Rankatori on the left short corner. Up for the jumper. It's an air ball collected by Franklin Jr. Franklin Jr. takes it across to the offensive zone, pushes his way to the bucket, and we're going to have a foul. And it looks like they're going to get the Hillers. I don't know if I agree with that one, but Franklin Jr. is heading to the line. Looked like he kind of just charged right into the defender.
Finfrock feels like he should have drawn the charging foul there, but his feet again weren't set. I did see Franklin extend a little bit with that leading hand, so that really could have gone either way, but Franklin gets to the line for the one-on-one here, I believe.
That is indeed on Finfrock. Franklin Jr. hits the front end of the one-and-one. The Hillers with 9 fouls, Milford with 8. And as you would expect, it has been a physical game between these two crosstown rivals. Franklin Jr. on the back end of a one-and-one counter. And we're going to have a timeout called. 1:16 left to go in the first half. Hopkinton 37, Milford 29. You are tuned in to the Central Division II sectional semifinals.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Up to timeout, a Hillers turnover as Rankatori kept it in bounds from going beyond the baseline. but swiped it right to a Scarlet Hawk. And now Milford working in the offensive zone. A feed of Franklin Jr. in the interior. Up and in he goes. Franklin Jr. from underneath. He is hitting from all over the floor so far tonight. Maffiori along the far side, feeds to Rankatori, driving it back to Maffiori along the left wing. 40 seconds and counting left to go in this first half. Ambrosoni with a right-hand dribble. Working towards the interior, over to Rankatori along the left elbow. Now back up to Ambrosoni. Over to Maffiori, he launches a three, no good, and it is pulled out by Rankatori, swiped towards the far side, and he collects along the sideline. Up to Ambrosoni he goes. Ambrosoni working along the top of the perimeter.
Coach Keane wants him to hold it for the final shot of the half here, Tom. Shot clock is off.
And he is indeed going to let that clock run down. 7 seconds left to go. 5 seconds. Ambrosoni along the top, driving in, steps to the left elbow, up with the jumper, no good, and it's tipped back to Cooper, and he gets the shot off, but it's too late. And at the end of the first half of play, despite a big Hopkinton run to start this game, it is Hopkinton 37, Milford 31. The Scarlet Hawks came firing back in that second quarter, Steve.
Wow, well, you know, the Hillers came out like gangbusters, going up 23-4 early on, and you... Boy, you thought the Scarlet Hawks would make a run, and they sure did. I mean, they've cut it to 6, and they really played a lot better in that second half. And I would say Hopkinton's got their work cut out for them coming out in the second half, because one of Milford's best players, Schofield, has been on the bench with foul trouble. So the Scarlet Hawks are very much still in this ball game. It could go either way in the second half.
Well, it was a 23-10 first quarter in favor of the Hillers, a 21-14 second quarter in favor of Milford, and that gives us our halftime score of Hopkinton 37, Milford 31. We're going to take a quick timeout. Craig Nelson.
My graduation was something I will never forget. People like you and me sometimes may have doubts in yourself, but I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back into Clark University. We are at the half of the Central Division II sectional semifinals game between the Hopkinton Hillers and the Milford Scarlet Hawks. A 37-31 lead for the Hillers. Let's take a look at scoring totals from the first half. Ralph Franklin Jr. with 11. Tyler Weatherby for Milford with 6. Colby Perez with 3. Jordan Darling with 6. Ben Blanchard with 3. Sean Murray with 2. For the Hopkinton Hillers, it was Stephen Maffiori with 7. Tommy Ambrosoni with 5. Matt Cooper with 2. Brian Keefe with 3. Ned Dean with 8. Elon Rosen came through with 9. And Travis Finfrock with 3. And if you look at the Hillers so far in this playoff run, Steve, they had several different point scorers against Grafton. It was certainly a team effort. And right now they have several different point scorers against Milford, and the Scarlet Hawks kind of in the same situation. They have 6 different point scorers. It's been 2 good team efforts so far tonight.
I agree, Tom. You know, they're really spreading the wealth around on the point score, and that gets everybody engaged, involved. I mean, everyone's really, they're playing their hearts out, and you got to really tip your cap to Ned Dean, who barely logged any minutes at all the other night against Grafton. He's come off the bench, 8 points, a bunch of rebounds. He's played great basketball for his team.
Well, we are ready to start the second half. The Hillers have possession to start things off as Maffiori inbounds from the near side to Ambrosoni. The Hillers working right to left across your radio. Maffiori feeds it over to Finfrock on the corner. Now it's back up to Maffiori. He'll pass over to Ambrosoni. Ambrosoni driving in from the right wing, kicks it out to Maffiori. Here goes Maffiori down the lane, over to the right block. Around the defender, up for the shot, no good, but he draws contact.
Yeah, Weatherby got a pretty good, with a good whack over the head trying to swat the ball away. Maffiori gets to the line for 2 shots.
That is the first on Weatherby. Maffiori at the line for his second time tonight, and he hits the first of 2. On the second of 2. No good, and Rosen nearly had the rebound, but Franklin Jr. able to box him out, and Franklin Jr. takes it up, feeds it over to Darling, and now a pass over to the right wing to Weatherby. Weatherby working along the top of the perimeter with a right-hand dribble. Over to Blanchard on the left corner, and he'll fake out the defender, launch the 3, knock it down!
High arcing swish from 3-point.
What a fake that was. Maffiori trying to respond along the right wing, and he does! Oh, boy! Great response by the Hillers. A 41-34 game as Weatherby fires it up to Darling. Now a pass over to Blanchard along the left corner. Back up to Franklin Jr. Franklin Jr. over to Darling along the left corner. Up for three, no good. It'll roll off the rim. Tipped by Franklin Jr., but Rosen collects along the top of the perimeter. Takes it to the offensive end for the Hillers. Ambersoni to Matt Fiore along the right corner. Up for three, no good. As that'll rim out as well. Collected by Darling. Coming up the far side, Weatherby. Weatherby along the top of the perimeter. Over to Darling along the left wing. Up for three. No. Off the back iron. Collected by Matt Fiore. Matt Fiore takes it up for the Hillers. Along the near side. Coming down the lane. He'll take it back out to the right wing. Up to Ambersoni. And now a pass over to Finfrock. He'll launch the three from the left wing. No good. Tip by Cooper over to Rosen. And Rosen puts it up and in.
Great tip by Cooper. He created that opportunity for Rosen to get the puck back.
Tipped it right in his direction, and Rosen comes through once again. Weatherby up to Darling along the near side, driving into the right block, up for the right-handed lay-in, no good. Collected by Rosen, he'll fire it up the far side. Matt Fiore taking it in, around the defender, up and in, and it looks like we have a foul.
Count the basket, Tom.
An and one opportunity for Stephen Matt Fiore.
He did a great job of using his body. That's another call that almost could have gone the other way. Great defense by Weatherby, but he was moving. He didn't establish position, and if he did, that would have been a charge.
Matt Fiore, so far in this third quarter, we're less than 2 minutes in, he already has 6 points.
Both teams just gunslingers coming out. They're just shooting left and right with confidence. You love to see that kind of confidence from these young men.
And he knocks down the and one. A 46-34 Hillers lead. Taking it across is Weatherby. And this is a local matchup that many people have wanted to see for many years. Hopkinton meeting up with Milford. You don't see it often, but when you do, it's certainly something special. Weatherby over to Franklin Jr. along the left corner, and he's called for the travel.
He just saw the opportunity, and he moved a little too quickly with his feet.
Finfrock on the entry to Ambersoni. Ambersoni takes it up for the Hillers with a left-hand dribble. Working down the lane. Feeds it back to Rosen. Rosen down the lane, up! No, it'll fall off the rim. It looked like an easy lane, but he couldn't finish. Perez feeds it up over to Weatherby, and Weatherby to Franklin Jr., who drives in and lays it in. Right past the defender, that blazing speed of Ralph Franklin Jr. Ambersoni takes it up the near side, along the top of the perimeter, drives in, over to Matt Fiore in the corner, up for three, air ball, collected by Weatherby. Weatherby takes it across. Over to Franklin Jr. along the left wing, up for three, no, off the rim it goes, collected by Finfrock. Matt Fiore will take it up for the Hillers.
Maybe a little bit too much outside shooting. Some of them are going down, but they are rushing their offense a little bit, are the Scarlet Hawks.
They were all hitting at first, but now both teams starting to get a little cold as Matt Fiore drives down, will draw contact.
Yeah, it's a great strategy until the shots don't fall, and then you're giving the ball right back to the other team without really running your offense. So I think both teams are a little bit overeager with the outside shots, but they are falling at times. But I think that too much of a good thing could backfire.
They get Ben Blanchard with the foul. That's his first, team third for the Scarlet Hawks. Elon Rosen into the corner to Finfrock, launches a three, no good. Collected by Schofield. Taking it up for the Scarlet Hawks, Vardaresian. Vardaresian feeds it over to the wing, and now pass over to the corner to Blanchard. Max Martin also into the game. Back to Vardaresian on the left corner, no good. And it's going to roll all the way out, back to the court, collected by Schofield. Up to Weatherby he goes. Weatherby over to the wing. Vardaresian up for three. Count it! Matt Vardaresian, the junior, knocks it down. And it's back to a 7-point game. Hopkinton 46, Milford 39. Timeout on the floor with 4:24 left to go in the third quarter. We'll take one as well.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Clark University. Off the timeout, the Hillers now the entry. Finfrock feeds it up to Ambersoni along the near side. And we have a foul. Looks like it's going to be against Milford. And that'll be their fourth.
And the Milford fans don't like that call. It looked to be a 50-50 ball and an errant pass, but Ambersoni gets the benefit of the doubt on that one. Oh, and he commits a foul.
Ambersoni is going to run right in to to the defender. They'll get him for the charge. That's his third. Scarlet Hawks basketball. The entry will be from the near sideline. Vardaresian on the inbound. Taking it up court for Milford is Weatherby. Over to Martin now to the corner to Vardaresian, up for three, no good. Loose ball collected by Ambrosoni. Ambrosoni feeds it over to Rosen, coming down the near side, up the lane and in.
Nifty footwork by Rosen, avoiding the charge, moving to his left, off the glass at an awkward angle in the and one.
Another and one opportunity for Elon Rosen, and he saw that wide open gap and exploited it.
I think both teams are relying too much on the three-point shot. I really do, because when they go to the basket, good things happen.
On the and one, count it. Off the back iron and in.
Off the back iron up. Lucky roll for Rosen. That happens when you're playing great basketball.
Weatherby takes it up, feeds it over to Martin along the right wing, up for three, count it. Swishes it right through. What a response by the Scarlet Hawks. 3 3-point field goals in this third quarter for Milford. Finfrock up the far side of Rosen. Rosen coming down the lane, up with the jumper, no good. And it looks like we're going to have a foul. And it will be against Milford. And the Scarlet Hawks faithful does not like it. But certainly some contact was made.
Yeah, they got Ben Blanchard with the blocking foul on the floor, so there will be no shots here. But looks like Milford already has 16 fouls. They're playing so aggressive. You'd love to see that, but too many fouls.
And there's 3:42 left in the third quarter. We still have a whole nother quarter after this one. Fiore along the right corner, along the baseline, into the short corner, kicks it out over to Ned Dean, now to Finfrock.
Drew Hopkinton, take it to the hole. You've already got 16 fouls. Get to the line. Create your own offense.
Matt Fiore over to Cooper along the right corner. Now up to Finfrock on the left wing. Feeds it into Dean, and it's stripped away and taken away. Here comes Perez. Perez running the floor, past the defender, up, no good, but he draws contact.
Great hands by Max Martin on the defensive end. Stripped that ball, created that play for his team.
Colby Perez heading to the line for the Scarlet Hawks, and Travis Finfrock is guilty of the foul. That's his second.
Boy, you'll love to see Coach Paul Seaver getting so many guys involved off the bench. They come and they make valuable contributions for their team, and Max Martin doing just that.
And he hits the first of two. Perez on the second. Count it. Well, both of these teams have pretty deep benches, which is why I would be very surprised if this game did not go down to the wire. Finfrock on the entry from the defensive baseline, feeds it up the far sideline over to Ned Dean, and then it's stripped away, knocked out of bounds off of Martin. Or was it? Let's see. It will indeed be Hiller's basketball.
Milford is playing a very aggressive and effective full-court press right now. Made it very difficult for Finfrock to inbound that ball.
A 5-point Hillers lead, 3:08 left to go. Matt Fiore down the lane, up with the turnaround, but he's called for the travel. He hit the shot, but they will wave it off because of the travel.
A little bit of a hop by Matt Fiore. You get away with that sometimes in the NBA, but that was the correct call by the official. A little bit of a hop step, travel.
I think it was such a nice spin around, though. You got to let him have it.
LeBron James gets away with it, right?
Right, exactly. He's just taking some tips from the pros. Weatherby takes it up midcourt. Milford working left to right across your radio. 49-44 Hillers lead. 2:53 and counting left to go in the third quarter. Back to Weatherby up top. Going to drive the lane, pass the defender, up with the underhand scoop shot, no good. And then Rosen draws contact underneath, and it looks like they're going to get Schofield with his fourth foul of the game. He's going to come back out for the Scarlet Hawks. And that is also a team seventh for Milford, so the Hillers are going to the line for a 1-and-1. And we're still in the third quarter with 2:43 left. Milford in very early foul trouble, and this could certainly be trouble because the Hillers are a very good free throw shooting team. Elon Rosen at the line. On the front end, count it.
Boy, you got to feel bad for Tom Schofield. He's just had some tough breaks, and after that fourth foul, he had just come off the bench, and he just heads right to the bench, not even looking at his coach, and you'd love to see him have some success.
And he hits the back end as well. A 51-44 Hillers lead. 2:38 and counting left to go in the third. Marderesian takes it up. Along the top of the perimeter, feeds it into Darling. Darling trying to work past the defender, up with the right hand and in.
Great no-look turnaround shot by Darling. Didn't even see the basket when he left his feet.
Finfrock with the entry up the far side of Cooper, and then he'll launch it down over to Keefe in the offensive end. Back to Cooper on the wing. Now a feed to Rosen, and Rosen is going to be called for a foul. Gave a little elbow to the defender.
No doubt about that one. Credit Tyler Weatherby with fantastic defense. Giving up his body, drawing the charge.
That's Rosen's third foul of the game. Team third for the Hillers. Milford already with 7 fouls in this second half as Weatherby will take it across for the Scarlet Hawks. Weatherby along the top of the perimeter feeds it over to Blanchard. Driving down to the left wing, he'll pass across back to Weatherby. Weatherby thought about the three, over to Martin along the right wing, up for three, no good, a little wide. But then Weatherby collects, keeps it in bounds, but feeds it back to Cooper. And he had to make a split-second decision there, but Cooper was in the way of the attempt, and Ambersoni has possession for the Hillers along the left wing. Feeds it over to the corner, driving in his Keefe. A kick over to Cooper on the right corner, up for three, no good, and it's collected by Max Martin along the baseline. Darling takes it up for the Scarlet Hawks across midcourt. Down the lane, around the defender, up with the right hand, no good. Couldn't finish that time. Ambersoni collects.
Big block by Rosen.
Ambersoni feeds it into Cooper now, out to Keefe, up for three, no good. Rosen pulls it down. Along the low post, up for the lay-in, and he draws contact.
Great offensive rebound by Rosen. Boy, his team needed that. And again, I would say both the Hillers and the Scarlet Hawks, they're relying on the three ball a little bit too much, Tom, I think, because they're getting more effective results when they drive into the hole, create their own offense.
And I think the Hillers have done more of that, driving into the low post rather than shooting the long distance shots, and it's paying off in these last couple of minutes. Rosen on the first of two, no good.
Well, it reminds me kind of a college game, the volume of these outside shots. And boy, when it's falling, you look really good, but when it's not, we shall see.
Rosen on the second. No. Collected by Darling. Darling feeds it up the far side of Weatherby. Weatherby along the left wing. Pass up to Darling, back to Weatherby. Launches a three. No. Off the back iron. Collected by Rosen. And then Rosen is going to be called for the travel.
He simply left his feet before he knew what he was going to do with the basketball. Wanted to get to Maffiori. Maffiore's behind him. Couldn't see him. That's the correct call.
We're going to have a timeout. 1:02 left to go in the third quarter. Hopkinton leading Milford at 51-46. You are tuned in to the Central Division II sectional semifinals.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
The timeout, Blanchard was going to feed it in, then they switched to Weatherby along the far side. Weatherby now with possession along the top of the perimeter. 55 seconds and counting left to go in the third quarter. Weatherby over to Darling along the right wing. Darling looks to his left, looks to his right, and now will feed it to the left corner to Weatherby along the baseline. Feeds it back to Darling, down the lane. Two defenders in front of him, up with the right hand, no good. And then it's batted around, and Finfrock bats it out to Ambersoni. Now it's stolen back by Darling. Down the lane goes Darling along the baseline, working the defender, and we have a foul. And they're going to get Finfrock with the push. That's his third.
Boy, great hustle by Darling. I mean, great hustle by Ambersoni, too. It was a 50-50 fall. Darling comes away with it, gets possession back for his team.
Ben Blanchard on the entry to Sean Murray along the right corner. Around the perimeter they go. Weatherby up top. Feeds it into Darling down the lane. Up for the lane and good, plus a foul. An and one opportunity for the Scarlet Hawks. And once again, they're going to get Elon Rosen. That's his fourth.
Ooh, that's a big foul for Rosen. And great strong move by Jordan Darling. Going up strong, getting fouled, still finishing at the rim.
Jordan Darling trying to complete the and one. He has 10 points so far tonight. No good. Collected by Finfrock. Over to Ambersoni, who will take it across midcourt. A 3-point Hopkinton lead. 20 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Ambersoni being watched by Darling. Feeds it over to Maffiori. Maffiori looking in. And a miscommunication. He was looking for Ned Dean up top and overthrew him.
And Coach Keene wanted them to hold that ball for the final possession of the third quarter with the shot clock off. Now you give Milford a chance to tie this game or cut it to one.
Jordan Darling will have the entry for the Scarlet Hawks from the near side. Darling feeds it over to Weatherby, who will take it across. 8 seconds left to go in the quarter. Pass over to Perez along the left wing. Perez driving in, up for the jumper from the high post. No good, pulled down by Finfrock. And that'll do it for the third quarter. Finfrock nowhere to go with it, so just hung on to it. And after 3 quarters of play, it's the Hopkinton Hillers 51, the Milford Scarlet Hawks 48. Don't go anywhere. The final 8 minutes of regulation are going to be as exciting as it gets. You are tuned in to the Central Division II sectional semifinals.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back to Clark University. We are ready for the start of the fourth quarter. After a 23-10 first quarter in favor of the Hillers, the Scarlet Hawks have outscored Hopkinton in the last 2 quarters, 21-14 in the second, 17-14 in the third, and they start off with possession, working left to right across your radio. Up top, Weatherby feeds it over to Perez along the left wing. Perez over to Darling along the left short corner. He'll take it out, and he'll pass over to Weatherby along the right corner. Up top to Darling, drives up to the elbow, feeds Franklin Jr. up for the lane, and he's blocked by Finfrock. What a tremendous block underneath by Finfrock. Ambersoni takes it up, feeds Finfrock on the wing. Now back up to Ambersoni. Ambersoni takes it down the lane, kicks it back out to Finfrock. And now Maffiori with possession along the far side, calling it out.
Good patience by Maffiori.
Maffiori back to Finfrock. Finfrock feeds it in, pass the defender over to Dean. Dean is going to take it up and in. And Dean able to work right past the defender.
And Ben Blanchard very nearly drew the charge. They could have called that. I think he got away with it on that one.
Weatherby feeds it underneath. Up with the reverse and good. Ben Blanchard, what a response by Milford. Ambersoni going to launch it up the court over to Ned Dean. Dean feeds it out to Finfrock along the left wing. And now up to Ambersoni. Ambersoni works the lane over to Maffiori along the right wing. Up for 3, no good off the rim. Batted around underneath. And Blanchard able to get the last tap on it over to Franklin Jr. And here comes the Scarlet Hawks. Perez feeds it up top to Weatherby. Weatherby back to Darling on the left corner. Up for 3. No. Off the back iron it goes. Tipped in the air. And it looked like it was simultaneous contact between Weatherby and Ambersoni. And the Hillers have it. Maffiori takes it up the far side. Along the short corner. Kicks it out to Ambersoni. Ambersoni for 3. Got it!
Oh, big three-pointer. Darling would have tied it at the other end. Ambersoni gives them a 6-point lead with 6 minutes to go.
A big time 3 by Tommy Ambersoni. Along the top of the perimeter for Milford. Weatherby back to Darling. He goes along the right wing. Darling, 2 defenders in front of him, working the baseline. Up, no good, but he drew contact. They're going to get Finfrock once again.
Finn Frog is frustrated, but Darling was just so quick. Got it to his spot on the floor, went up with it, and Finn Frog did commit the foul. Jordan Darling playing some impressive basketball in this second half.
That's Finn Frog's 4th foul. He'll have to be careful the rest of the game. Jordan Darling having quite a night. 10 points so far. First.
And as Finn Frog goes to the bench, we're seeing Sarapusko. I believe these are his first minutes of the game here, Tom, which shows a lot of confidence from his coach, Tom Keene.
He's certainly been an asset in the low post for the Hillers. So Sarapusko certainly not a bad replacement for Finn Frog at all. But you certainly want to make sure Finn Frog will be available for the last couple of minutes. And the official going over to Coach Seaver. And I'm not quite sure what this is about, but it looks like perhaps there's going to be a timeout. So it looks like we had a late timeout call. And there's some discussion amongst the officials and the scorers table. I think they want to confirm a couple of things. So perhaps it wasn't a team timeout. I didn't see any timeout signaled.
Yeah, no timeout has been assigned to either team. I believe the officials had some sort of issue with something at the scorers table. But let's see what that turns out to be. We're getting clarification on that going forward.
5:53 left to go in the 4th quarter. It's Hopkinton 56, Milford 50. Still anyone's game. And what a battle it has been. A game just absolutely filled with momentum shifts.
These are two teams that are playing to win. They're not playing not to lose. They're giving everything they have tonight. I've been really impressed by the intensity and desire of both teams. They want to be in that finals.
Now the officials are huddling up together to talk something through. I'll try to let you know what that is. But once we get back into action after this officials stoppage, it'll be Jordan Darling at the line for the Scarlet Hawks, shooting a pair.
We are at a point in the game, Tom, where we're seeing with the volume of fouls on both ends of the floor, a lot of guys coming off the bench. You need bodies at this point. Get guys with 4 fouls, and the next one they're out of commission. So bench player, as you alluded to earlier, is so critical in these final minutes.
Darling on the first of 2, no good. Free throws could make all the difference here in these final few minutes. Darling on the second of 2. Got it.
Good concentration.
5-point game. On the entry is Keefe. Feeds it into Maffiori. Maffiori will take it across midcourt. Down the lane he goes. Over to Sarapusko. Sarapusko up for the shot from the short corner. No good. And then we have a jump ball call as Sarapusko and Darling got wrapped up on the rebound attempt. It'll be a inbound for the Hillers. Sarapusko on the entry from the offensive baseline. Feeds it over to the corner, over to Dean, and now up to Ambersoni along the right wing. A pass over to Keefe along the left wing. Takes it to the corner, feeds it back to Ambersoni. Ambersoni up to Maffiori. Maffiori going to drive in, and he'll feed it over to Sarapusko. Now back out to Maffiori on the right corner. Ambersoni up top. Around the defender, and he'll launch the left-handed shot. No good. Pulled down by Perez. Went off the side of the hoop there, and that was certainly a bit of a rushed shot there by Ambersoni. Weatherby down the lane, over to Darling on the left corner. And Darling surrounded by Ned Dean, able to get it out to Perez along the left wing. He'll feed it over to Weatherby coming in from the right corner. Now back to Darling on the left side, up for 3, no good. Put back, no good. And then we are going to have a foul underneath on the rebound attempt, and it's going to be on Dom Schofield, and that is going to be the end of his night. That is his 5th foul.
Tough game, and you know, Weatherby has played so well, but that was a mistake on his part. He rushed that. He could have got the rebound, come to his feet, and had an easy shot. He just rushed that, caused a scenario in which his teammate picked up his 5th foul, and boy, Weatherby's played a great game, but just took his eye off that one.
And let's not forget, Milford is past the limit, so Josh Sarapusko heading to the line on a 1-and-1. And the next foul on Milford would be double bonus time for the Hillers. Sarapusko on the front end knocks it down. A big free throw there by Josh Sarapusko, the junior. We haven't seen him much tonight, but he's come into this game and immediately has made an impact. On the second, count it.
Those are big free throws for a guy that's coming off the bench. That's all you can ask of him. He's being a great team player tonight.
Already a couple of rebounds and a pair of free throws for Sarah Pusko. Weatherby takes it across for the Scarlet Hawks. Over to Martin along the right wing. Now to Franklin Jr. on the corner. Back to Martin. Now over up top to Weatherby. Launches a three. No good. Off the back iron. Collected by Franklin Jr. Franklin Jr. working the defender off the glass. No good, but there's a foul. And it is going to be on the Hillers.
Ned Dean committed that foul. Coming over from the weak side, trying to stop Franklin Jr.
Franklin Jr. with a team-leading 13 points so far for the Scarlet Hawks. Has not scored yet in this fourth quarter, but does now as he hits the first of two. It's a 6-point game.
He's been absolutely huge tonight, Tom. You know, Franklin Jr., he's not a starter. He's a junior, comes off the bench, especially with his teammate Dom Schofield having foul problems all night long. A big tip of the hat to Ralph Franklin Jr. tonight.
Franklin Jr. on the second of two. Trying to put Milford within 5, and he does. It's a 58-53 Hillers lead. 4:47 left to go in the fourth quarter. Emersoni on the entry from the defensive baseline. Feeds it to Cooper. He'll go up the far side to Ned Dean. Dean back to Ambersoni. Ambersoni drives in along the short corner, feeds it over to Rosen. Rosen will launch the jumper from the lane and draw contact.
Boy, he goes up with so much strength, it's almost impossible to slow him down. But he'll get to the line for 2 shots on the shooting foul.
You get Franklin Jr. with the foul. That's his second.
And it will be 2 shots the whole way here, Tom. We're in the double bonus now.
That is correct, and he does miss the first. Elon Rosen will have to be careful throughout the remainder of this game. He has 4 fouls on him as well. But how about the physical play in the low post? That's why you're seeing a whole lot of fouls in that low post area. Both of these teams just playing so physical as you would expect in a game like this, and Rosen hits the second. Weatherby takes it up the far side for the Scarlet Hawks. 4 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. A 6-point game in favor of the Hillers. Franklin Jr. up top for the Scarlet Hawks. Feeds it over to Varner Region along the left wing. Trying to feed it in the lane. It was tipped by Ambersoni, but he tipped it right to Max Martin, and he'll kick it out over to Weatherby. Down to Franklin Jr. along the right wing. Franklin Jr. trying to work. Rosen runs right into him. But who are they going to get? Because Rosen was stopped in his tracks, and it looks like they're going to get Rosen, and that's going to be the end of his night.
That is a tough foul to call on Rosen, but sometimes the whistle goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. Franklin was a little bit out of control on that one, but he gets the benefit of the doubt, and he'll be going to the line as Rosen has to leave the floor for the remainder of this ball game.
Franklin Jr. at the line. He has 15 points so far tonight for the Scarlet Hawks, and he's been very good from the stripe. He's 5 for 6. And it's no good. Loose ball. It is collected by Varner Region, who takes it to the left corner, and now a pass back to Varner Region. Launches a 3, no good. Tipped in the air by Darling, and it's collected by Weatherby. Then Matt Fiore able to poke it out, and Ambersoni comes away with it. Ambersoni takes it up, down the lane, up for the shot, no good, and we have an offensive foul. They're going to get Ambersoni with the charge. That's his 4th.
Matt Fiore with tremendous hustle on his own end of the floor. Ambersoni takes it up with a head of steam. And another close call that could have gone either way. Boy, it's tough when it's that much of a bang-bang play, but they're going to get Ambersoni with the charge.
Coach Keene wants a timeout. 3:57 left to go in the fourth quarter. Hopkinton 59, Milford 53. You are tuned into the Central Division II sectional semifinal.
I'm Haley. Hi, Davis. Jake. We're the Hiller volleyball team.
My name is Emma. My name is May.
My name is Shelby.
My name's Sophie.
We're Alma Gal, and we love HCAM. We love HCAM.
And I volunteer for HCAM TV.
And I watch HCAM TV.
And I love HCAM TV.
And I love HCAM TV.
We love HCAM TV.
Welcome back to Clark University. Off the timeout, 3:57 left to go. The Scarlet Hawks inbound from the defensive baseline. Darling on the entry to Weatherby. Weatherby takes it across for the Scarlet Hawks. Milford working left to right across your radio. Over to Martin in the corner, launches the three, no good. And it's collected by Matt Cooper for the Hillers. Ambersoni will take it up court. Ambersoni working against Darling. Over to the right wing, feeds it back to Matfiore. Tommy Ambersoni has 4 fouls in this game. He's going to have to be careful the rest of the night. Ambersoni down the lane, gets it over to the corner to Cooper. Cooper kicks it out to Finfrock. And it looks like we're going to have a Hopkinton offensive foul. They're going to get Travis Finfrock with contact.
Just a little bit out of control was Cooper on that one, Tom. He just kind of lost track of where the defender was and went right into him.
And a correction, that was indeed on Cooper. That's his second. Weatherby takes it across for Milford. Along the top of the perimeter, over to Franklin Jr. along the right wing. Both teams with 10 fouls in this half. Hopkinton has evened things out in the foul department. Milford was in foul trouble early on. Darling driving in from the left corner, and as he works his way to the bucket, he is going to be called for the charge. Make that a travel on Darling.
Another frog step that you get away with in the pros, not here tonight.
Finfrock over to Matfiore. Matfiore takes it across, over to Ambersoni. Ambersoni, close to midcourt, working against Franklin Jr. Feeds it back, up for 3 goes Keith, no good, and it's collected underneath by Darling. Darling with a long toss over to Franklin Jr. Baseline jumper, no. Batted around by Franklin Jr. Out of bounds it goes. Hillers basketball.
And Tom, both contingents of students in terms of fans for both teams, they have been on their feet all night. They're still on their feet. They haven't sat down all night.
Ambersoni feeds it over to Keith. Keith coming across midcourt, and he drew some contact. And that is going to be on Tyler Weatherby. That's his third. And the Hillers are going to the line. Double bonus for both teams. Ryan Keefe at the line for Hopkinton. He has not scored any points since the first quarter, but this is his first appearance at the line. First of 2, count it. It's a 7-point Hillers lead with 2:36 left to go.
These are 2 extremely well-coached teams. And when you see these guys come off the bench and hit their free throws, although you missed that one, you just see the dedication from both coaches to good, solid, fundamental play.
Darling took it up. Milford working around the perimeter from the corner of our region now. Over to Darling along the wing, launches a 3, no good. Collected by Ambersoni, then he's tripped up. It was an unintentional trip by Tyler Weatherby, but they're going to get him with the foul.
And he stands there in disbelief, but yes, that was a foul, inadvertent though it may be. And wow.
And that is his 4th foul. So all of a sudden, things are tipping towards Hopkinton once again.
Well, you live by the 3, you die by the 3, and there's just been entirely too many 3-point attempts, in my opinion.
Ambersoni on the first of 2, no good. Matfiore at the line. We apologize for the brief disconnection. And the first of 2 is no good. 1:51 left to go in this game. A 5-point Hopkinton lead over the Milford Scarlet Hawks. On the second.
No, these are big misses.
Collected by Darling, and here comes the Scarlet Hawks. Weatherby takes it up, now passes along the left side of the perimeter between Varsity and Darling. Back to Darling on the left wing, up for three, no good, it'll fall out, collected by Finfrock. And here comes Finfrock up the far side, and we're gonna have another Milford foul. They're going to get Tyler Weatherby with his fifth. He's done for the night.
Boy, he played hard tonight. Great game by Weatherby, but he picks up some key fouls late in the game, and the Scarlet Hawks will have to go the distance without him.
Travis Finfrock at the line for the Hillers. On the first of two, no good.
That's 5 missed free throws in a row by the Hillers. They've got to have better concentration. They need these free throws.
The winner of this game will play Neshoba, who defeated Wayland in the first game here today, 49-42. Second free throw no good either, and the Scarlet Hawks have it. Darling along the wing, and he'll feed it up top over to Varsity. Varsity drives in, gets it back to Darling. Darling going along the baseline, around the defender, up for the lay, no good. But we have a foul underneath, and it looks like it is going to be against the Hillers on Ned Dean.
Yeah, Ned Dean is frustrated. He believes he got a clean block, but, you know, Darling is doing exactly what everybody else on the floor should be doing right now. We're going to the basket, creating offense, gets to the foul line for some big free throws.
And a correction, it was Wayland defeating Neshoba 59-52. So the winner of this game will take on Wayland in the sectional finals. First of two for Darling's no good, and we have a timeout. 1:15 left to go. Hopkinton 60, Milford 55. We'll take a timeout.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother.
Yes.
You, your football buddy, your football buddy. You, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse.
Yes.
You, your dog walker, your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back to Clark University. Jordan Darling remains at the line for his second free throw attempt of the series. He missed the first. And he has a chance to get the Scarlet Hawks within 4 with 1:15 left to go in the fourth quarter. Does it get any better than this, Steve?
Boy, you can feel the tension. You can cut it like butter with a hot knife or some allegory to that effect. But these are big free throws, and both teams are just not making their shots. Let's see if Darling can do it right here.
Second of two. Got it. Big time free throw there. It's 60-56. Hillers leading. 1:15 left to go in the fourth quarter. Travis Finfrock trying to feed it in from the defensive baseline. Up to Ambrosoni he goes. Ambrosoni is going to be stripped away, and the Scarlet Hawks have it. Right a region along the left wing up to Darling. Darling down the lane. 2 defenders in front of him, and the shot's blocked. Collected by Matt Fiore. Matt Fiore takes it to midcourt. Over to Finfrock along the near side. Finfrock feeds it back to Matt Fiore, and now an intentional foul by the Scarlet Hawks.
Wow, the intensity just ratcheted up another notch.
We'll get Matt Varsity with his second, and it's double bonus time for the Hillers. Stephen Maffiori at the line for 2.
When the Scarlet Hawks want to press, boy, do they press with a lot of strength, heart, and intensity.
First of 2 is good. How about Stephen Maffiori tonight? 15 points on the night for the Hillers. That is the second on the team behind Elon Rosen, who had 17. Elon has since fouled out.
And Matt Fiore is really the guy that you want to have the ball if you're the Hillers. Cool, calm, and collected.
And he hits both free throws. It's a 6-point Hopkinton lead. Matt Varsity takes it up for the Scarlet Hawks. Feeds it over to the corner to Martin. And out of Perez along the wing. Along the perimeter they go. Jordan Darling with possession along the left wing. Feeds it up to Blanchard. Blanchard trying to work the defender. Darling sets the pick. Matt Fiore in front of him. Nowhere to go with it. trying to throw it over towards Varsity Region. Stolen away by Ambrosoni. Ambrosoni takes it up the far side, and he'll draw a foul coming up the sideline. It's going to be against Matt Varsity Region. That's his third, and the Hillers are going back to the line with a chance to make it a 3-possession game.
What a huge steal by Tommy Ambrosoni, and these are huge free throws. He can give his team a 3-possession lead with just one of these 2 free throws.
First of 2, got it.
Wow.
Second of 2. And the Hillers are all down in the defensive zone, getting ready. And he hits both of them. A 64-56 Hopkinton lead. Matt Varsity Region takes it across, feeds it over to Ben Blanchard along the wing, launches a 3, no good, and it's collected by Ned Dean. Dean to Matt Fiore. Matt Fiore going to take it up court. And Matt Fiore able to launch it over to Ambrosoni, driving in from the wing, draws the foul. We're going to get Jordan Darling on the foul. That's his 4th. And the Hopkinton fans can feel it. Things are looking good for the Hillers as they lead at 64-56.
The window is closing for the Milford Scarlet Hawks. Boy, they played amazingly passionate basketball today, but they just took too many 3-point shots down the stretch, didn't hit any of them.
Ambrosoni hits the first of 2. Now for the second. Got it. A 10-point Hillers lead. 21 seconds left. Varsity Region over to Darling, and now back to Varsity Region up top, and he knocks down a 3. Big time 3 there for Varsity Region, but it might be too little, too late, as Matt Fiore draws the intentional foul right off the inbound by Blanchard.
Good job by Matt Fiore getting to the ball, seeing where his teammate was on the out of bounds, and making sure he could inbound it safely.
Well, if you're Milford, you just have to hope Matt Fiore misses both of these. First of 2, no. 11.4 seconds left. Hopkinton 66, Milford 59. What a game it has been between these 2 crosstown rivals. They don't play each other much, but whenever they do, it certainly seems like they play each other every year. The intensity is just amazing at a Hopkinton-Milford game. Darling takes it across midcourt, down the lane, up with the right hand, no good. And it's collected by Ned Dean, and that is going to do it. The Hopkinton Hillers are going to take down the Milford Scarlet Hawks by a final score of 66-59. The Hillers of Hopkinton are moving on to the sectional finals, where they will battle Wayland at Worcester State University. That game will be Saturday night at 7 p.m. Hopkinton-Wayland. What a game between these 2 teams. The Hopkinton Hillers are victorious over the Scarlet Hawks 66-59. And Steve, I'd say this game was pretty much everything that anybody could have anticipated. Obviously, the Milford fans not too happy with the result, but what a game it was. What a performance by both teams out there.
This game lived up to its billing and then some. Great job by both teams. Great heart and desire. You love to see that kind of intensity. And, Milford finishes at 14-8. Let's tip our cap to them on a fantastic season. And, boy, what a great event tonight here at the Clark University.
Hopkinton Hillers victorious over the Milford Scarlet Hawks 66-59. Well, we want to congratulate head coach Paul Seaver and the Milford Scarlet Hawks on a tremendous season, and a big congratulations to head coach Tom Keenan and the Hopkinton Hillers. They are moving on to the Central Division II sectional finals. They will take on Wayland Saturday, March 7th, 7 p.m. at Worcester State University.